Destiny.
Godlike are at least able to keep things competitive by taking one map off Velocity at the very least. I do believe that Godlike have a chance in Ascent, but in Haven, I'm heavily favoring towards Velocity. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to welcome all our YouTube audience to today's matchup. Welcome to Valorant Challenger South Asia. We have Godlike versus Velocity starting right about now.
Yeah, welcome guys. We all love you, of course, and as you all know, today is April 1st. It's an April Fool's Day. And I've also heard that Frenzy now does 40 damage to chest. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I heard about it in a dream.
It's crazy, man.
It was revealed to me by my fairy godmother.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw the entire Cypher. I don't know if you saw the entire Cypher trailer that the official Play Valorant page dropped. Cypher's got some incredible buffs now, huh? You might as well go and try to play some Cyphers. He can throw unlimited clones and all that stuff. It's crazy, man.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, I'm really glad to... I'm really excited to test out the new mode that Valorant is releasing. But this is also quite exciting. Velocity taking control of the A side already. But say, getting one through the smoke. No vision required. You've got game sense.
Here we go. Deathmaker with a Frenzy in the hand, of course, in the close range. This gun's an absolute beast. Peeking out once again. And Godlike this time are just playing it so patiently. They've got all the players stacked up and ready just to burst inside the site. The spike still hasn't been planted, and this is what everyone's waiting for. I guess they're really just trying to play with Godlike's mind, huh? VLT, they went for such a long pause, and now finally they're going for a spike plant. That was quite an interesting silence being put up there for quite a while, but there's a flank coming in soon enough, even from Godlike. Let's see how much value they're able to squeeze out.
Say, instantly gets squeezed to death as Deathmaker pulls the trigger. Doma looking to make the distance close in. Meanwhile, ASTER and Hika are kinda isolated over here. I don't think they have a way into this side. There's gonna be way too much defense. Nice shot. No trades come through from Velocity yet, and Hika tries his best. But yeah, that was an interesting approach by Velocity Gaming. Unfortunately, they always do this. Velocity are the kind of team that will, let's say, if they try to go towards A, right? And if something goes wrong, they stay right outside A on A long and short. And they don't make any noise. And most of the times their opponents get bamboozled and they think that, oh, Velocity are not here anymore and they're moving out towards C. The only reason Godlike did not get bamboozled is that 2 of their players had already pushed out of C long and they were waiting literally an attacking spawn. So they knew for a fact that Velocity is still outside A. They've just got sound and they're waiting.
Once again, you've got the classic approach from VLT just outside A. Turret watching the flank as well. But this time, Godlike, they're not going to push up. Is playing little safe and sound, stacking up towards the A site. Already 3 players are ready to gun anyone down if they do decide to execute that.
It's quite a gamble from Godlike. You know, they've got all their players stacked up towards the A site, which is actually a correct gamble. That's where Velocity are headed. But in case Velocity do go towards B or towards C, there's nothing over there. Not even any Killjoy utility marking that angle.
Oh, Owl Drone being shut down. And thank God the player's not been getting caught in the stun as well. And it's going to be a smooth sailing once again for VLT on the site. Not a lot of bodies being found from Godlike, and they're just going to get absolutely decimated. Rexy gets his hands on a Bulldog. And he's also got a decent amount of utilities available, but unfortunately doesn't expect the man in the back.
Yeah, I think that's good enough. Godlike invested absolutely nothing. In fact, they didn't even plant the turret. Caramel held on to it. He didn't buy any nanoswarms, no alarm bots, nothing. Didn't even deploy the turret. All of them just had their shorties and their classics. They just wanted to do some damage. And yeah, 2 kills are decent enough for 0 investment. This will force out Godlike to reinvest their weapons. And look at what they have done. The 2 players who died, one of them has upgraded to a Vandal. That's Deathmaker. Meanwhile, Eccles continues to hold on to the Frenzy.
Yeah, but this round is going to be really important for Godlike.
Oh my God.
This is not a peek you want to take, Zay. 4 players in front of you getting absolutely surprised, and once again in the cloud burst is Deathmaker just dancing on the site, getting a lot of info for his teammates as well, and even Astro gets shut down. No smokes left over for Godlike for this retake. And you blink it and you miss it. It's already down to a 2-on-4 situation. Godlike, they're just being shut down before the game even starts.
That was quite an aggressive run from Velocity Gaming. No beating around the bush, no messing around, just straight up aggression into the beast site. Rushing in with no time to waste. And now Caramel looks to face them once again. Deathmaker, the star aimer, taken out of the picture. Reduced down to a 2v3. That fault line is actually impressive. It does catch 2 of them. And that allows Caramel to get the kill onto Excali. But they both get crunched when Velocity bring up the pace.
Oh, man. Velocity. Okay. Solid round from their side. And Godlike, as I said, that round was so important for them to get in their hands because they had the superior weapons as well. Vandals and Phantoms were on the board for their side, but still nothing being found from them. And from VLT, the bullets of pain were just shredding through Godlike. And so far, Godlike haven't even gotten a single round yet. VLT, as always, they've got a 3 rounds lead. That's looking quite comfortable.
I mean, it's not the biggest lead so far, but they put Godlike back in the economic trenches, so Velocity can continue moving ahead without any fear. Very little resistance over here from Godlike. The few players who are present are holding all the way towards the entrance of Defender spawn, so it's not like they can fight back. And even if they wanted to, the smokes from Velocity don't let them. There is a flank in the works, though. Can it find any value? There's 2 people trying to go back ways. That's going to be Astro along with Heka. So let's see if they can do it. But the moment I say that, instead of going from C long, they double up towards Garage.
Yeah, they fall back. The flank's being denied at the last moment. They don't want to go for it anymore. Deathmaker's all by himself, just trapped in the back, and I guess he's not the one trapped. The enemies are trapped with Deathmaker as he just lines everyone up. And once again, VLT, they just clean it up so easily. Mopping up the entire floors. And VLT, another round secured easily in their hands, making a 4 on the board. And once again, the opponents will have a chance to get their hands on the Vandals and the Phantoms as well. Zay's going to go for an operator this time. But how much value is he going to find? That's a huge question.
I mean, the last time you tried to take first contact peek on the top of the B box, he was instantly destroyed by Deathmaker. This time if he gets challenged, at least he's got the bigger gun in his hand, so he can actually get a pick and fall back.
Revealing area.
I mean, it's not like Zay did anything wrong in round number 3 when he was trying to fight from the top of B. His plan was to just take a contact and then fall back, but little did he know that Deathmaker would be so merciless. Once again, Velocity standing outside of A. They've done this before, but this time they actually go in for the full commitment. Rolling Thunder deployed. No smoke to its defender spawn. Velocity want to pick up this fight. They've deliberately left this area open without any smokes. They were hoping that Godlike would challenge them, and Velocity wanted to pick up those frags. But it's still a 4v5, so Velocity get what they want and more.
Godlike. Still, they've got 4 players alive, and I guess they really just don't want to go for this take anymore. It was a 4-on-5. Definitely doable. But still, Godlike just don't want to risk it. That's quite an interesting save coming out from this team, and 4 players saving this one out. That means VLT has to send someone on a hunt. They will need to try and get at least 1 or 2 guns off the board, because in the upcoming round, why would VLT want to deal with all the guns that Godlike have saved up? And considering VLT, even they themselves have got a lot of money, they can definitely risk some bodies here.
Yeah, I mean, Hellfighter and Doma are the richest ones over here, having more than 5,000 credits. They could have gone for the hunt, but it's okay. It would be much more convenient for them to just tackle them again in the next round. And this is how Velocity messes with your mind. You see, in pistol round, they tried to go for a fast A hit, and then they paused. They just stopped entirely. Hit that side again after like 20, 30 something seconds. But in the last 4 rounds, Velocity have been hitting these sites quickly, very quickly. They hit B once in round number 3, then they hit C in the eco, and now they hit A. They're going all across the map at rapid pace for the last few rounds, and this is such a different vibe from what they showed in pistol. That's exactly why teams have such a hard time reading Velocity.
And this timeout from Godlike is really just to wrap their head around how to play the upcoming round and what to expect from the opponents. A hit has been there from VLT all the time. They're getting the sights in the hands like it's nothing. A smooth sailing once Deathmaker puts the cloud burst on the site, straight up dashes in the site, and there's no counter being found so far. Let's find out what sort of changes we're going to be seeing inside the defaults this time. That operator in the hands of Zay really needs to start raining down some bodies, and for that, Zay will need to take a lot of risk.
Yes, they will have to take that risk, and he better take it soon. If they just start playing passively, if they wait for Velocity to make the first move, they're basically giving away the reins of the entire game to Velocity in their hands. Zay this time marking C. Surprisingly, there's almost no utility towards the B side. It's just Rexy, and I'm pretty sure that with these smokes he won't be able to do anything. Never mind. He doesn't need to see Eccles to take his head off.
Just Fury utilized, but no one being found this time. But as soon as I say that, 2 players being found easily. Rexy at least is able to soften two of them up, but still, how much else is going to be the answer? And still, they've got the ultimates available. Cosmic Divide's being utilized, and Deathmaker's able to neutralize the threat. The threat that was posing from Godlike. Rexy trying to get as much as information as possible, at least was able to scan 1 player out, but still, Godlike, the problem is
Revealing area.
that over and over again, VLT, they're just able to counter every single player Godlike are trying to bring on the board. Once again, Astro gets caught off guard. These positions from VLT, the timing is just so perfect.
Yeah, Doma had such a good read on that. The moment some people from Godlike tried to peek out a garage, Doma reveals himself and he takes him down. And by the time the Cosmic Divide expires, Godlike have no time left. You also gotta realize that this isn't the most usual Cosmic Divide that you will see. Sometimes people use this kind of a Cosmic Divide to just block off the back of site so they can plant in the front. But this particular Cosmic Divide, it's slightly tilted. I don't know if that's by design or if Hellfighter was planting it in a hurry, so it was like a little curved. But it leaves tiny gaps both outside of A long and C long, which means all the players who want to fight from Godlike while entering the B side have to jiggle around these areas, and that just makes it so difficult to pick up these fights and clear the angles. I guess that's one thing I should ask Hellfighter in the post-game interview if I ever get to talk to him.
Yeah.
Whether that flawed cosmic divide was by design or was it just a happy accident?
So far, there's a heavy stack from Godlike on the A site, and luckily enough for the players of VLT, they're just gonna fall back. A side execute was the plan initially, but later on they're falling back once again towards B because they realize there's not a lot of defense available on the B site. Just one single turret, which they're trying to play off of the contact. And that's it. Not even a single piece of utility is left over. Aster Star is being deployed as well, and I'm pretty sure soon enough the smokes will be deployed down too. But look at Deathmaker is pushing up so deep, he knows that the opponent's on an economy round. So of course just wants to push up, try and get as many bodies as possible. Doma's going to be the one to claim Hika, but this flank from Godlike might just catch the players of VLT off guard. But no is going to be the answer. Excali's ready for that one, but Zay's able to trade things out.
Shadows traveling.
And Velocity Gaming have bamboozled Godlike way too much. I mean, Godlike don't even know where the actual plant is until they get within the hearing distance of this site. And even then, no frags. Absolutely nothing. Oh, poor Astro gets taken down through the walls. Zay's trying to slice and dice, but Eccles will not give him anything. He doesn't have any vice.
Oh boy, VLT. It's just so tough to predict what VLT will try to bring on the board. Pushing through smokes, that's so unexpected. These positions the players are holding, even that's so unexpected. It's like VLT, they have eyes on every single corner of the map. And it's really tough to just predict what VLT will try to bring on the board next time. And Godlike, they're really struggling now. 7-0 is the scoreline. And as the scoreline keeps on increasing in the favor of VLT, Godlike, they're going to start to panic even more.
I think they're panicking already, man. Look at the passive approach from Godlike. They've given up on aggression. I mean, you've got Astro holding C alone. At least he's trying to move up C long to gather information. But the setup between Godlike only facilitates trading towards B. And the moment I say that, now Zay is left all alone on B. Yes, there's a triple stack on A long, but Caramel's left in a 1-and-done position. The flashes are not perfect, man. No. Hika gets one at the very least, but then again, it's so labored. Rexy can make a difference. Hellfighter down, but Doma will instantly trade him out. Again, all these positions from Godlike, they are not tradable. So it's a big problem. And Velocity don't even need to do much in order to actually clear the site.
Oh. Astro utilizing from the shadows.
What?
What is happening with Godlike, man? He also got detained too. He just straight up moved inside the KJ lockdown aura, and he got detained himself. That's just so... You can't even call it unfortunate. You need to realize that there was a lockdown being utilized, and he just straight up teleported inside the lockdown and got detained. Oh boy. Godlike, it's like every single thing they're really just trying to bring on the board, it's just not working out. And let me tell you one of the big problems for that. It's like VLT, they're already starting to abuse all the mistakes that Godlikes are making. And now, since Godlike, they're realizing that those are the mistakes they're making, and now they're also getting a lot of pressure, so they're just making even more mistakes.
Yeah, they're digging themselves a grave. I guess it assumed that there's gonna be a tiny corner unoccupied by the lockdown. They tried to TP into that, but what difference does it make, man? That just makes this look so easy. Nice shot by Astro, making up for whatever mistake he made in the last round. Again, I believe what he did in the previous round was basically try to teleport into a tiny corner which he believed was unoccupied by the lockdown, but because the Omen ult works the way it doesn't keep you on the edge of the map. It takes you like a tiny inch forward, and that's probably what got him detained.
Right there.
Regardless, he's made up for that mistake by hitting some nutty shots in this round. Hellfighter and Doma decapitated all because of him. But does it give Godlike a fighting chance? Yes, it does. Caramel and Astro are able to recover weapons because of it.
Good way to bait out the shock darts. Eccles realized that there might be some lineups coming in, so instantly backed off. Good one. Let's got the plant down without taking a lot of damage. Excali's just waiting for the flanks. He's expecting another one too, but this time Astro is just feeling himself. He's landing those shots. And he's able to put up those numbers on the board too, and Deathmaker's on a prowl. He's on a chase, wants to take down the man, and he will chase him down to death. Astro, the last man to go, but he will be cleaned up as well. VLT, this streak they're having, they're making it look so easy against Godlike. It's like a piece of cake for them.
Yeah, but at least a piece of cake has some resistance when you put a spoon through it. This feels like a hot knife running through butter. Unopposed, with absolutely no friction, absolutely no resistance. And Godlike are starting to make mistakes which they don't normally make. Like Astra putting up that smoke, obviously that's not something that he would have ever done in a normal situation. But because he feels compelled to go for the defuse and try to at least tap that spike before he picks up the fight, he puts down that smoke in the open. So yeah, that's a bit of a mistake that Velocity will punish every single time.
Yeah. And look at this. The problem is the site control just given away so easily. And once again, Deathmaker will just make it inside the site so easily. This is the problem.
And it's not just the fact that Deathmaker's in C already. The rest of his team is heading towards A. Deathmaker's deep faking all the way in C with his own body. He's making noise. He's breaking turrets. He's keeping so many Godlike members stationed towards the garage and B site. Meanwhile, Velocity have free reign over A.
Godlike, you guys really need to start fighting back for the side control. Once you realize that there is a side control being taken, try to have those quick rotations on the site. Don't just give it away and fall back and try to play for the retake every single time. Yeah, once in a while it's quite understandable, but sometimes you need to fight back in those moments, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. Caramel lines up two, stacks them up on top of each other, and now it's all down to Excali and Echoes.
Last player standing.
The men with the E on the name. And Rexy, oh boy, from the back line's able to try and pull something off. Godlike, they finally get the first round on the board. 9-1's going to be the scoreline, but every single player from the side of Godlike, they don't look too happy.
Yeah, I mean, would you look happy if you had only one round? What's worse is that if Velocity win this particular round, then Godlike will be back in the economic trenches. So it's really just an uphill battle for Godlike. Deathmaker's on a roll. Man sitting on 17 frags already. Meanwhile, nobody else has double digits on the server.
I still feel like there needs to be someone on Godlike who's cheering the players up, being like, let's go team, it's okay, we've got the first round, this is the glimmer of hope, keep on doing how you guys are doing, keep on playing. There needs to be someone who's cheering up the team all the time. That just really refreshes the mentality of a player, and you really do need those cheers as well.
Ah, come on, Necro, everybody knows you're just wanting to fulfill your cheerleader fantasies, so that's why you're just making up these excuses, you know. Everybody needs a cheerleader.
I've never been a cheerleader, man.
But you want to deep down in your heart, you know it.
Hey, yo, listen, I used to be a basketball player in my school days, okay? And I know now I'm not in the physical shape of even claiming to say that, but I used to be, all right? And I guess when I say cheerleading, I know how it works, but moving on forward, for now the A side's the take over here, and Deathmaker's able to find the opening. He got, oh boy, Godlike, I love it. You were talking about the resistance, and we're finally able to see that. They're fighting back for the site control. They're fighting back for the map control.
Yeah, I speak about resistance, and maybe I was Godlike's cheerleader. Now they're finally in a position to put up some rounds on the board. Excali, he can recover the spike, yes, but there's not enough time for him to go all the way back to its C. At least not without making noise. So he's going to go for the one thing that Velocity has always done. Cut noise and wait right outside A. Let Godlike run their own mind games. Let them assume that he's fallen back on anything. But even Godlike aren't moving this time. They've read through the bluff. They can read the script, and Zay, he writes his own destiny.
Single-handedly stepping things up, and Godlike really able to put up the numbers on the board. But once again, you cannot keep on relying on those heroic plays.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess one thing that Godlike are using to figure out what is a fake and what isn't by determining the number of smokes that Velocity use. You see, in a couple of rounds, whenever Godlike, let's say, are trying to defend B, and Velocity have smoked off C link, and they don't smoke A link, it kind of indicates that Velocity want to fight in that region. Same goes with the C takes of Velocity. They smoke off Garage, but they don't smoke the defender spawn. They probably use one cloud burst from that. And that's what tells Godlike where do Velocity intend to go. This time though, Deathmaker wants to go straight inside!
Oh,
and he's
boy.
not stopping!
Oh, but still respect to Godlike. At least they tried to fight back this time. They did not let the site control go away. But it was just Deathmaker doing Deathmaker things, and you don't really expect a Jet to just fly out like a bird in the sky and just straight up right-click blades on you. And take you down with that quickly. But the flanks being snuffed out as well. And LFF, oh boy, making it look just way too easy. Deathmaker left unchecked. That's a rookie mistake. You're supposed to check that corner. And he's now going to be greeted with a free kill for himself. No is going to be the answer. Deathmaker whiffs his shot to get the kill. And now, Caramel left all by himself to try and clutch it out. It's 1-on-3 being stunned as well. Nothing can be done in this scenario. Deathmaker could have really shut down Caramel there, but the pathing he chose was a little too wrong. But it's fine. It's completely okay. They still had the man advantage, which helped them claim that round. But Crips, it's a 10-2 half. And the chances of making a comeback are now slim.
Really slim, man. Really slim. Deathmaker just turning up the aggression as and when required. It's almost like he is a fragger on demand. Plus, you have to appreciate the accuracy of that gravity well placement. It seems like Eccles has figured out that every time the site is being hit, whenever the utilities are flying in, the recons and the flashes, that's when I think he's realized that Godlike tried to fall back out of the site, and they tried to regroup with the teammates for a retake, and that's exactly why that gravity well was placed over there. That's not usually the spot a gravity well is placed. When Astra places a star over there, it's usually to activate the smoke, not the gravity well. But now he's figured out what they want to do, so it's almost like he doesn't want Godlike to escape outside the site. They want them to die right here, and so far, Velocity are digging them a good grave on A.
Exactly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know what? The first half was quite interesting. I mean, not so interesting as we wanted it to be, but still a complete one-sided affair, a complete one-sided stop. We'll be able to find out what's going to happen inside the second half after this short break.
Hit for my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Hit on the wings, I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Hit for my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Hit on the wings, I get it in.
Welcome back into the second half, ladies and gentlemen, and it's quite a fiery start this time. It's Godlike taking the heat against the players of VLT, and Seaside is already taken in hand, so at least that's good news. But still, VLT, they will try to ball it down to a complete mechanical battle later on, if possible. Every single player's now start trying to push the limits as well, but they're already softened up a little bit too much, and LFF was able to line up too. Eccles, the man left on the defender's spawn, and even he himself is just stepping things up. But VLT, oh boy, what a scrappy round, but still VLT, they make it look clean somehow.
I'm pretty sure that even VLT are surprised by the way Deathmaker was able to get those two frags. They flashed into its garage. Caramel was blind, he couldn't shoot back. Deathmaker... Oh no, wait, he wasn't towards the cubby. He was right outside of long, I guess, so that's probably why Caramel wasn't able to assist. Deathmaker, in an absolutely comical way, gets the kill onto Hika, who's trying to fall back after fighting towards defender spawn. And Hika's counting on Caramel to watch garage, but Caramel can't watch anything because he's blind as a bat. Eccles put that flash in his face, and yeah, that's how the cookie crumbles.
Then you really start asking yourself, was that push necessary all the way towards defender spawn? And my answer is going to be no. When you get the seaside control, you should definitely try to play for the post plants. I guess you were really just trying to catch the players of VLT off guard, but still that push on the board isn't a good option because you pretty much know that every single player from VLT is going to be stacked over there, and as soon as if you walk out of that narrow pathway, you are going to be greeted with a crossfire. And yeah, VLT, they just completely demolished that push in the defender spawn that they were trying to pull off towards the link. But once again, Godlike on the Sheriffs with the intention to put at least some sort of dent on the opponent's economy. But VLT, they've got the guns ready. They've also got the superior weaponry. That means a couple of bullets, and that's going to be enough to shut down the entire roster of Godlike.
With the timing on Xcali is so perfect. His timing of putting up that shock up just tells you how much he knows about Godlike's movements. And now they're all ready. Bulldogs deployed, stun comes through, and so many of them caught. Yes, Astro does manage to get into the side, but the Cloudbursts are making sure that Deathmaker stays alive for way longer than he's supposed to. Overstaying is welcome. Buying space for Eccles to come in, who mows everybody down like it's just easy.
Oh boy, VLT. They're like a meat grinder of a team.
Yeah,
the
dude.
coach is laughing. He's like, what is going on over here? Oh boy, I don't even need to do anything. He's not even uttered a single word so far. He's just sitting there laughing, having some smirks on his faces, because his team is just doing everything that they all need to do. So everything's good so far. They're chilling.
Ah, they're chilling, they're killing. And I would probably put in a couple more ing rhyming words over there, but at this point I'm a little too traumatized for Godlike to even continue on with the joke. Hicka, unfortunately, at least he's able to get one kill before he finally dies, so that's good. With Eccles gone and both the breaches out of the server, Godlike have some chance of defending, because then they won't be completely lopsided with the carpet bombing of Velocity's utility.
Still though, 4 players up on each side. And Godlike, they've got an equal chance of winning this round. But it's a map point for VLT, and you can't really walk peek this angle. But Rexy proves me wrong. The shot on the dome of LFF to shut him down, put him down asleep, and also giving them a huge man advantage. Godlike looking pretty confident inside this round so far, looking pretty confident with this approach. But 3 players tacked towards the link. I'm definitely a little worried, even more for the side of Godlike. Zay trapped in the backside, holding an off angle, trying to catch some players off guard. The rest 2 players on the main just playing for the post plant completely. Even the garage area is being watched as well. But now the players of VLT will start to funnel through. Deathmaker's able to find with a trade, but this is going to be quite a tough post plan to try and clear.
Yeah, spikes already have gone, and with it, Godlike are able to secure one more round. Fun fact, this was Doma's first ultimate point. And he got it because he died, which basically means in the last 2 rounds, he did not even see an enemy. His teammates just did the killing without him ever needing to be there. And that tells you all you need to know about Velocity.
Speaking of like all the, you know, basketball and the cheerleading stuff. How tall are you?
I am 5'8".
Here.
Oh, you're still
Not
short.
that tall. Yeah, quite short. I'm not over the 6-inch mark. The 6 feet mark, sorry.
Little bro. You're like a little bro. But yeah, for now, well, I mean, VLT is making look Godlike like a little bro. Oh boy. Speak about cooking, these guys are boiling them. Overcooking every single player of Godlike. And the last one to go as well. And Zay being shut down. Oh boy. I'm pretty sure VLT after this is just gonna start calling Godlike the little bros. But yeah, definitely not a way Godlike would have want to go down. And considering how important this matchup was for them, we did take a look at the overall standing before this entire matchup even started. Oh boy.
Yeah,
Are they even going to be able to make it to playoffs?
I mean, I might be a shorty over here, but I think I'm correct when I say that Godlike's run in this tournament is about to be cut short. Even if Godlike are able to mount a comeback, even if they are able to beat Velocity in the next 2 matches, is that going to be enough? I mean, even if Godlike come victorious today, their standings are not going to improve by that much, so odds are indeed stacked against them.
I mean, this was the pick of VLT, the first map, so we can let it slide, I guess. The upcoming map is going to be Ascent, but VLT is even good on the map of Ascent, so It's really tough to say what the overall score is going to be on the map of Ascent 2. If Godlike's able to win it, of course, that's really great for them. They really desperately do need this round, or do need that map overall of Ascent. But if they're not able to win it, then guys, it's a huge sign of concern considering they're not even in the top 3 to make it a playoff. So with that being said, it's time for us to push to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hit for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Making dreams come true and memories happier.
I know my destiny. I know my destiny. I know my destiny.
YouTube audience, welcome back to Valorant Challenger South Asia, driven by Hyundai. We're going to jump inside the map select, or we're going to jump inside the agent select, my bad. And as you do take a look at the, of course, agent select, I'm not going to expect a lot of changes over here. Some basic agents will be played on this map.
Yeah, I mean, Ascent is one of those maps where the meta is more or less set. And even if you try to innovate, you can probably make it work. It's one of those maps which allows literally anything to function. That being said, both these teams will go for a mirror composition. Hika's gonna have a lot of responsibility this time, man, because Echo's utility seems on point. And Hika will have to do something of similar stature to give his team a fighting chance.
Let's speak about that. Here we go. We are going to move inside the map of Ascent, where Velocity Gaming will be on the defending side, and Godlike will kick things off on the attacking side this time. A huge glimmer of hope. The second matchup of the series. If Godlike is able to win this, the third map will be split. So this is quite desperate. Compared to VLT, Godlike need this matchup more. They need this series more. VLT, for them, this is just sort of a consolation. They've already made it inside the playoffs.
Actually, yeah. Both these teams can play fearlessly in that manner, you know, because Velocity has nothing to lose. They've already made it to the playoffs with the amount of score difference they have. Same with Godlike. I mean, even if they defeat Velocity today and they have a huge score difference, they still won't be able to make it in because the deficit is just way too much. With these teams having nothing to lose, this should be a good fight, and it is. Hika and Astro kick things off really well. There is a glimmer of defense over here, but it can be taken away as Astro goes in for the flank. Doma takes his head off from behind. That's a little bit of an extension on behalf of that Astra, but I think it's fine. I mean, at this point, Godlike have gotten the man advantage for probably the first time in this game. And they reinforce it even further. Clean shot from Zay.
Yeah, we're seeing some nice taps from both the sides. And this time, Doma is going to be the only last man available and alive. Godlike going for a plant on the site. We'll get the plant down as well. Doma is on his way towards the market area. Once again, a lot of time being wasted from Godlike as they know it's just the last man. But still, look at the amount of respect that they're paying Doma. No one's trying to overextend. No one's trying to pull some shenanigans off. Everyone's just playing for the post-plant, disciplined. And Doma, he might just be walking inside a complete set trap. Turret being activated. Doma's taking a lot of damage. Was able to find one. But in the end, he gets taken down eventually.
What a
good round from Godlike.
Yeah, it was a good round from Godlike. Sorry to cut you off, but I just can't help but notice this man's a Giga Chad. You know, there's a turret in front of him. Ignores it. He just stands there, lets the turret fire at him, goes pew 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 at him. And he still baits out one guy, gets the shot on his head, and then he dies. I mean, yes, you lose the round, but Velocity are absolutely stoic in the way they even lose this honor even in their death.
Here.
I mean, if it was possible, it would probably... If he had some utilities left in his kit, I'm pretty sure as soon as he got the first kill and he was taken down to 1 or 2 HP, he would have probably tried to kill himself. I'd be like, alright, well, there you go. Creds denied. You guys won't have 4 creds and either that ult on. But at least for now, VLT, they move in towards the A-man area. It's an absolute meat grinder. Astro just lines them all up. But Excali's the last man to go.
Coming back.
What an
Still
eco
a
round,
lot of
dude.
bodies. Wait, that was a good eco round.
Yeah, I mean, there's 3 kills acquired from Velocity, so I would say it's a good eco, but you have to admit, this was one hell of a highlight fest, dude. Every single player mowed down by Astro. Of course, at the cost of a couple of his teammates, but it is still a nice move fearlessly moment by one of Phillips OneBlade. And almost everybody had some great shots, right? Astro had a nice spray down. Excali hit some nice one-taps, so overall, it was a treat to look at.
Excali this time. Oh, the entire team of Godlike is just going for quite an aggressive approach on the mid. Deathmaker's being caught off guard with all the players in front of his face, and he will instead fall back. B-site is the approach, at least so far. That's what it looked like from Godlike. But Zay's positioned himself in quite an interesting position. They've at least got the mid control pinned down. The mid's on their name. Deathmaker is slowly and steadily clearing out every single angle if possible. And will also go for a complete challenge on that fight. Finds one, but this time is taken down a little bit too low, and Astro capitalizes on that. But hopefully this time they're not going to overextend. And Godlike, yeah, they've learned their lessons. They fall back instantly. And now they're starting to reroute towards the A site.
And all of this after they've left Astro towards the top of mid. I'm sorry, towards the bottom of mid, whatever you want to call it. But this is one thing that Godlike have done in both the rounds before. Whenever they try to go mid, instead of going directly into market, they have someone play towards the defender spawn area. At least this time, Hellfighter deals with this menace.
Really nicely played. Godlike able to fiddle with VLT's mind and also get the site control easily in their hands. That was a little good bait. Considering Astra got caught in the mid, that made VLT realize that, okay, they're still holding outside B. But eventually Godlike got the A presence done. Also the A side back in their hands. They're able to stack up some bodies as well. That's some nice shots from Rexy. But he's only taken down 5 HP, and now it's all down as A. The last man left to life. The final glimmer of hope. The final burning torch in the dark place. Will he be able to clutch this? No is going to be the answer as Echo puts the final nail in the coffin. VLT, they win the buy round, but still a lot of economical damage has been done.
Yeah, he was up against overwhelming odds, man. It would have been unfair of us to expect a clutch from him.
30 seconds
But
left.
this is kind of
One enemy
unfortunate,
remaining.
you know, because Astro is in such a good position, but then he kills from the one place that he thinks he will never get killed from. Partially because his teammates were present towards mid just a couple of seconds ago, and just as they started to go back towards the top of mid and towards A main, that's when two of the players of Velocity jump down from A shot, and then they murder him. So, I don't even blame Astro in that situation. He would have never expected someone to come from there in a million years.
Speak about that, the 0 point being utilized, not a lot of info gathered.
Obscuring vision.
VLT, they're playing quiet in a aggressive stance so far. Godlike able to sneak on the right side of the main, and HellFF might just be caught off guard. Definitely catching a couple of bullets on himself, but HellFF instantly falls back, not overextending on that angle. Even Deathmaker tried to push up onto mid, but only he's got Bulldog to cover him up. So the firepower is definitely not going to be there against a Vandal or Phantom. But he's still challenging the fight and he wins that duel. That's impressive.
Yeah, and Velocity with whatever weapons they have are just stacking it all on mid.
Blocking vision.
And just as Godlike decide to fall back and head towards A main, that's when Velocity do the same. Hellfighter's playing an anti-flash angle. Meanwhile, Excali's trying to escape and they don't check for him! This could have been a nice double kill, but at least Godlike deal with the imminent threats. Only Doma is left. And there you have it, they're all dealt with. This is quite a cool round from Godlike Gaming, you know, they take their sweet time. And now they're just all playing as a unit, not any of them spreading apart. The only time someone did separate from the pack was when Astro was playing towards the bottom of mid in the previous round. Apart from that, these guys are just sticking together, you know, and I guess that's one good way to counter Velocity Gaming. Just never offer them 1v1s. That's one cool way to ensure you have advantages in your fights.
I feel bad for HellFF that he was not able to claim that kill, even though he attacked that guy so low. If you're in the shoes of LFF, you're not going to be feeling good after such a whiff. And now Godlike, they're just going to start to stack up these bodies. That nanoswarm is just so perfectly placed. But Caramel will get the third on the board as well. Doma being shut down. This man single-handedly is on a mission to shut down the entire team. And he's also getting hunted down by the entire roster in the front. And in the end, Caramel will claim the ace as well. Oh boy, he was getting hunted down by every single VLT player, but he managed to kill everyone. Yeah, those were the eco frags, but still, you need to realize the sheriffs can sometime be the difference maker.
Yeah, I mean, that was still a very impressive round from Caramel. We've always said that this man is the difference maker for Godlike. This man is the one who does the heavy lifting, and now he shows exactly what those muscles are capable of. He was getting targeted over there, man. Velocity Gaming decided to specifically make his day in particular a living nightmare. He was the one taking point on mid when there was aggression from Deathmaker. He was the one getting pushed back because Velocity decided to flank from B main. And now Velocity finally started to bring the tricks up. A simple recon and Odin spam combination. As old as time itself, but still so reliable.
And Odin in general is just such a good weapon.
Not in my hands, probably. I suck with Odin and Ares.
Bro,
I would much
like,
rather have a
trust me.
Stinger than an Odin.
Trust me, I'm gonna be speaking for a lot of people over here. When you're just deathmatching to try to improve and trying to warm up, and then there's that one guy who uses Odin in the deathmatch,
Standing ahead.
Yeah.
and it's just so annoying. It's so annoying considering Odin's fire rate is way better, and also the damage is just so insane that you
Yeah.
just die within seconds and you're not able to counter that Odin. Within the time you're in, you're already dead. So yeah, Odin's like definitely a pretty good weapon if used correctly, but this time Rexy just outmaneuvers Excali, and Excali's aim wasn't really there to hit the target properly. But now it's down to a 1-on-3 situation in which the last man's behind the site. That's a good dodge from Astro. Looked away in the nick of time instantly, was able to dodge the flash, but doesn't get the kill. Echo claims it in his hands.
And Velocity Gaming are just so unfazed, right? There's a whole lockdown invested by Caramel. Velocity don't care. They continue holding like there's nothing wrong. And it was such a massive investment too, you know? They were hoping that Velocity would either over-rotate or they would fall back, and then there would be little resistance when they go into the site. Nah, man, Velocity don't budge an inch. And yes, coming back to that Odin conversation, a lot of people seem to have problems with people using Odins in death matches. I don't. If I see an Odin, I go towards that guy because I'm like 110% sure I can slay him. Either way, this time it's Deathmaker taking matters into his own hands. Rexy deals with him, but Doma is right around the corner.
BLT. Oh, the players in the front are now going to start to move in. The trades did happen back and forth, but now in the end, we're down to a 3-on-3 situation. Godlike. They will get the plant down. These things are equally there on both the sides. And the Nuddle command being utilized as well. That means VLT, they've got no sort of utilities to try and utilize inside this entire retake scenario. It's just going to make things even more tougher. The null command's there to try and delay the lockdown for as long as possible. Doma really just wants to put it on the board. He's waiting for the null command to expire, and as soon as it happens, Doma will go for that lockdown. And Astro, no, he whiffs! Oh, Astro probably thought that he got the kill on the Eccles, but stopped shooting. But unfortunately, Eccles wasn't dead yet, and Eccles shuts down Astro. Astro being caught off guard, digs his own grave in that moment, and VLT, they get this retake smoothly in their hands. Well done. But also well thought out stuff being shown from the side of Godlike. They really did think this through. They used the null command to try and delay the entire lockdown for as long as possible, but as soon as the null command expired, Doma utilized the lockdown and got the retake done for his team quite easily. VLT, of course, the firepower still are there, so all they need to do is just funnel inside the site. But as I said, that Astro flank could have been huge if he was able to shut down Eccles. But unfortunately, Astro thought that he killed Eccles, and he stopped shooting. But unfortunately, that was not the case.
That happens with me quite often. I make that 4-bullet burst, I think my opponent's dead, I move to the next target, and I'm like, oh wait, you didn't die. And then the opponent has enough time to kill me, so yeah, I've been a victim of that quite often. This time, there's quite a lot of aggression from Velocity Gaming. Not only is a drone committed over here, but you've also got Deathmaker watching that angle with the op. In fact, it's kind of a little puzzling thing because the drone was committed behind the position that Deathmaker is already clearing, so I guess they tried to fake Godlike into believing that there isn't an AWP present over here, but now that Deathmaker has seen everything, and by everything I mean absolutely nothing towards B, Godlike know that Velocity know that Godlike are heading towards the A site, which isn't in fact true. They're just waiting outside of A shot and mid. And now look at this guy. What a great cover by Hika. under normal circumstances, Rexy would have been dead because Deathmaker should have been able to easily kill him in the middle of that Hunter's Fury. But that was great backup. And now Caramel can actually get the kill onto Eccles.
30 seconds
Oh,
left.
never mind. Excalibur doesn't need any vision. This Cosmic Divide is actually such a menace to Godlike because they come to force outside this little stubby. And they're actually able to get the kills. But still with to deal with Excalibur. And Excalibur is such an annoying person to deal with, especially
Yeah,
back
the
here
Odin.
with the Odin.
Oh boy, Odin, man, it's
10 seconds
just
left.
sometimes so difficult
Spike
to counter.
planted.
The fire rate's there on the point, even when you are going to shoot through walls. It's still going to deal a lot of damage no matter what. Excalibur was able to shut down another man before he went down, but now it's all down to Doma. And he couldn't find anything in that scenario. Godlike, another round on the board, at least on the map of Ascent. They're taking things a little bit more competitively against VLT in this game. It seems like Godlike definitely do have a chance to fight back against VLT, but this timeout from Velocity, this will be concerning.
Yeah, let's see what Velocity discuss in this timeout. I mean, so far, Velocity have been playing aggressively on both fronts, so the problem isn't with the fact that Godlike are getting too much map control or the fact that they're able to exploit like weaknesses or anything. But Godlike have all of a sudden dropped the pace of the round, and they are kind of waiting for Velocity aggression to come through. That also is like a little bit of a double-edged sword, you know, because the moment Velocity decide to play passively, Godlike will be just waiting, hoping to punish something, but Velocity will never come through with a push, which basically means Godlike have wasted all this time. So let's see if Velocity decide to pump the brakes, or do they decide to push up the aggression even further, ramp it up.
Oh man, this tactical timeout really is making VLT think, I guess, and finally we're seeing the VLT coach as well chiming inside the action. The first map was completely one-sided, so we didn't really see a lot of talking from him, but this time definitely he did give out some nice calls, it seems like, to VLT, but let's see how it's going to be reflecting inside the game. VLT being forced on in eco rounds, they haven't really got a lot of weaponry in the hands, just the pistols and the Marshall to try and find some value. And the Marshall's going to be in the hands of Excalibur. Zay moves in forward. Still, Godlike is playing this one so safe and sound. They're respecting their opponents, and that's what they really need to do.
Yeah.
But still, over-respecting sometimes might just cost you the entire round.
It's kind of understandable, you know, because Velocity took this tactical timeout and they're on an eco, which probably will lead Godlike to believe that they're stacking one particular site. But look at what Velocity have done. They activate the door themselves and then they break it down. This is kind of a clear indication that Godlike will not be able to secure the A-shot region if they go in for this push. And they're all just walking down a B main. There's no flank of sorts. It's a 5-man push down this narrow chokehold. Velocity disrespecting the smokes, trying to push out all this and trying to get the kills. And so far, the Classics are singing the songs of death. Hellfighter chimes in as well. And all of a sudden, Velocity pull the eco off. That's exactly what Godlike was scared of.
Oh boy, the crossfire setup, the Classics, man. Really just hurting the players. And Doma, he ran huge inside that entire battle. Was able to shut down 2 players with only a Classic and also damage the 3rd man. Oh boy, the headshots from the Classics really were just able to put so much damage in that previous round. And Godlike lost out on that round, which they were supposed to win. That was supposed to be a guaranteed victory for them.
Exactly.
They're not able to convert it into that.
Exactly. And they took their sweet time simply hoping that they can avoid a stack from Velocity, but that's the exact trap that they ended up walking into. Once again, this time, peppering around. Eccles sees them, sees multiple. Fragment to stop things, slow things down. But wait, even after that fragment is deployed, Velocity aren't making any rotations yet. But the drone has been used to clear out B main, which might lead Excalibur to believe that B is clear, whereas in fact Godlike are heading back towards the region just now.
Godlike. Once again, we're seeing quite a slower approach, a huge change in the pace from their side. Holding the flanks as well, just not going to let anyone overextend. And even if they are trying to, they will try to cut them off instantly. For now, no is going to be the answer. Astro eventually is able to shut down Eccles. That was a nice shot. But Godlike, they're able to sneak into these little loopholes that are being created so far in the defense. Velocity, Deathmaker, that dash was so unexpected. Rexy gives his position away with that kill, but still it doesn't matter. It gives the huge man advantage away in the hands of Godlike, which they can try and convert into a victory in the upcoming rounds. Hunter's Fury utilized to try and at least take away the plant for now, try and delay the plant for as long as possible, but the Hunter's Fury is not going to find any sort of value whatsoever. Doma tried to sneak in, but he got countered instantly.
And it's all down to Excali once again.
Caution here.
This bot kill was actually quite nice. Half the time these Sobas, they rely on the sound to figure out where the plant is, whether it's towards Gen, whether it's deeper inside, or it's just under hill,
Scanning ahead.
like you see in this particular round. Because there's no sound, Excali doesn't know exactly where to use that Hunter's Fury, so he can just guess at the best. And there you go, he's finally been dealt with. Godlike having some signs of life in this game. 6 rounds in a single half. That has been the most that Godlike have been able to acquire in a very long time now.
So far in the attacking half, Godlike's able to do a good job. And considering Ascent, I would say, is a pretty balanced map when it comes to both the sides. You've got a decent amount of control if you can try to go for on both the sides as well. As long as you're able to deny the map control, things should be in your hand. As a defender and as an attacker, of course, you need to take as much as map control as possible. Information, of course, can be quite vital as well. Recon dart being used, but it's being shut down instantly. Not a lot of info being found, but Deathmaker pushing up quite deep from mid. Was able to shut down one man. And that's all he got. But still, that one early pick is going to give them a huge advantage in the upcoming battles.
Okay, this is quite interesting. Caramel extending towards a shot all by himself. Godlike have never done this before. Caramel has never tried to probe areas like this before by himself. I guess he feels a little confident doing so because he's got the better weapons and velocity is somewhat on an eco. But still, this is quite bold. Let's see if it pays off. So far, at least Godlike have managed to neutralize that disadvantage. And now they double up on it. With Deathmaker dead, A side should be easy to handle. But Hellfighter is at least able to lock down Caramel, who's gonna come in late. In case Velocity decide to rotate via mid, Caramel's responsibility will be to shut down the rotation. But Hellfighter wants to peek out of the smoke. He was trying to be cheeky.
Nice.
Astro says that there's no peeking out of smokes while I'm alive.
Oh, Godlike! I like this huge change inside the map of Ascent. These guys are able to catch the players of Velocity off guard. We were talking about how good timing of Velocity is. They're really just pushing through those smokes, those corners, unexpectedly, even through the smokes in the previous map. But this time on the map of Ascent, they're able to calculate those little things and counter them. And so far, Godlike, they've just been looking more confident in their individual duels as well. They've been coming out on top in those duels. And even they themselves are bringing in that surprise element to the game. It's going to be 7-4 for now, the scoreline. In the favor of Godlike, they're able to establish some sort of dominance so far. But still, that dominance isn't that reliable.
It really isn't. But you want to know something interesting so far?
What?
Apart from their game against MLT Esports, this is the first time that they've crossed the 7-round mark in this tournament. In their previous game against God's Reign, they lost 13-6 on both their matches, so this is already looking quite good from Godlike. The fact that they're able to get the lead in one particular half is rare, and Godlike will want to savor it, convert it even harder going into the second half. Now as we are done, almost done with the last round of the first half, the null command's already used and Zay dashes inside. So that's a good shot, but Excali's still alive, still kicking.
Yeah.
And now he's called over Doma, who's ready to provide him backup, but Deathmaker kills the spike carrier, and the fake attempts of Godlike are now discovered.
Oh, Deathmaker's taken down way too low. One single bullet will seal the deal on him. And Rexy himself has now got his hands on the Odin. And he is looking to line some fire up. He's looking to light the opponents up as well with that Odin. carefully moving inside the site from the tree region. Godlike, they're really just looking out for every single enemy in the front. Deathmaker was going for a jump spot, but he knows that he's way too low, and he can't keep on doing that over and over again. But Hika's flank, Hika's little lurk that he got executed from the tree side wasn't expected. Was able to make it inside the site slowly and steadily, and Godlike, they're able to read pretty well what VLT are trying to bring to the table. These stances are being read so well from Godlike.
Revealing area.
On the map of Ascent, they're looking like a complete new team. I just love the fact that they're able to patch up all these holes that were being created in the first half, but now, eventually, as soon as the players of VLT, they get the man advantage, they're just looking more confident in those duels, and Doma will shut down the last man as well. 7-5 is going to be the first half, ladies and gentlemen, but how's the second half going to look like? It all boils down to that.
Yeah, Rexy, as soon as he went for that fake plant attempt, his fate was sealed. He tried to move towards hell right underneath, and he can't plant down there. He has to come out in the open, and by that time, Velocity were already peering down at him. There would have been no way he could have survived that. That being said, the attempt from Godlike to fake towards B and hit the A site was actually quite good. Velocity would have expected them to come back towards the A site, because as soon as the lockdown is deployed, they expect Godlike to move away, but Godlike didn't move away Godlike did not move away in response to the lockdown, but they already started to move away because that was their plan right from the start. So that is probably why Velocity were caught off guard with the timing a little bit, but they make the round work regardless. Amazing stuff.
Exactly. I mean, you see this quite rarely, right? A super powerhouse like Velocity Gaming getting fiddled with like this. It definitely gives a lot of hopes for the side of Godlike, but hopefully these hopes are going to be carried on forward in the second half as well.
Hit for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Hit for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Valorant Challenger South Asia, driven by Hyundai with our styling partner Philips One Blade. The second half begins, and this is where VLT, if they do want to make the series 2-0, they will need to take things a little bit more competitive. On the other hand, if Godlike really just want to overall drag this entire series to the third map of Split, they will need to keep on continuing with the momentum so far they have claimed.
But, like, imagine what would happen if Godlike actually beat VLT. They lose most of their other games. They seem like a very weak team, and then they beat the #1 team. That would be just absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah. It would be a statement inside the entire VCSA, considering VLT is one of those teams that hasn't even dropped a single map so far, right? Yeah, they haven't even dropped a single map so far. So if they do drop a map against Godlike, a team that has been struggling and a team that is all the way in the bottom of the leaderboard, then that's definitely going to make a huge statement, and Godlike will be another force that should be reckoned with. But, oh, the timing, yeah, as you mentioned, definitely not working out in the favor of Excali, but still the post plant's going. It's a 2-on-3 situation, definitely doable.
Last player standing.
Yeah, the gravity belt clears out the Jenny region, so it really just tells them where Eccles can be. There's only one spot where it is possible for him to stay, and he's run out of bullets, run out of luck. Godlike secure the pistol. And with this, their hopes of actually picking up a map are solidifying.
Indeed are. They indeed are. And Astro, the amount of impact this man is having single-handedly, it's crazy. Astro stepped up huge inside the map of Ascent. This man's having some incredible impact so far inside this entire matchup against VLT. He's been able to wrap up those numbers. He's been able to win those duels all the time. And so far, I feel like he's got a huge hand behind this entire success so far Godlike has found on the map of Ascent.
Yeah. And it's not just him, the rest of Godlike is also stepping up. There's like 3 players on this team who are in double digits. Meanwhile, on Velocity, only Doma has 12. So everybody on Godlike is just showing up in terms of firepower, and this is what we expected. We knew that if Godlike were to win something, it would be purely on the basis of firepower. But now we've got Deathmaker with the big guns and the Spectres just heading in straight. Caramel murders him brutally in cold blood.
Oh boy, and Caramel's able to find the second one too. This force so far isn't working out that well from VLT. Oh, this force being completely countered so well from Godlike and not even dropping a single body. Oh, they did. Rexy was the one who was found, but it's completely fine. Only one man lost in that entire round. Godlike. Oh, they're really establishing this lead now.
Yeah, and for the first time, they're doing justice to their name. This is certainly another move fearlessly moment for Caramel. A quad kill for him would have almost been his ace. And if it was, then I think he would be the only person in VCSA who's taken 2 aces in the same map. That would have been a big statement. A 4-round lead, Necro. I don't think Godlike have ever had such a luxury before in this entire tournament.
Yeah. Once again, VLT just towards the mid. This time just sort of looking over at the tree area. Just wandering around there, trying to get the tree area control in the hands as well. LFF might just walk in the crosshairs of Zay, and Zay, all he does is just burst on those 2 players. All he needed to do is just click the left click because his crosshair placement was just perfect against all of the players in the front. And now, slowly and steadily, every single one will start to stack up. Wow. And Zay with the 4K. Could have went for the ace, but he took it away. But it's fine. As long as Godlike, they really do get this rounds in the hands, that's all that's going to matter. VLT, they'll need to start to talk to themselves. I mean, we understand. For VLT, this matchup is not that important. But if you do drop a map over here, it's still going to sort of put a little crack on all the repetition you guys have built so far.
Yeah, I mean, up until now, VLT are really being built up to be the final boss of this entire tournament. That's what the narratives say, that's what the hype says, that's exactly what the stats say as well, and numbers are as close as you can get to God's handwriting. But now that Godlike are able to give them such a good run for their money, it really tarnishes that reputation of the untamable beast. And the moment I say that untamable beast, Deathmaker reveals himself. Rexy, nice little geometrical bounce with the shock dart underneath Deathmaker's feet, gets the kill. And it's somehow still a 3v3. Godlike are able to not only get this advantage, but also maintain it. But the moment I see that, I kind of jinx it. Zay loses his life, and so does Rexy. Velocity finally showing us exactly why they have been unbeatable so far.
The response on the defending side so far from Godlike has been incredible when it comes to the utility as well. The rotation too. Things have just been on the point for Godlike. Yeah, they didn't really have the superior weapons, but they've still managed to take down 2 players in the front. VLT, it does seem like they will be able to claim this round so far because Caramel's only got a Spectre in the hand unless he pulls off something completely miraculous. But there's 3 crosshairs pointing at his head. And oh boy, as soon as Caramel peeks out, he's being greeted with 3 guns right towards his face.
And there's no way he could have even taken a single kill because all of them were holding the same line of fire. I mean, if you slow it down, it's almost like 3 of them are just standing like a bunch of bowling pins, you know, one behind the other.
Oh boy. We're finally, VLT, they're able to stop all this entire momentum, the stomp that Godlike were able to build so far. And VLT, they get one more round of their own on the board. And every single player so far, even on the side of VLT, they're not going to struggle when it comes to the economical side. They've got the guns and the armors up. Hunter's Fury invested quite early this time from Excalibur to clear out those angles. And now, instantly, they're going to start a march inside the side as well. Hika, the flash peek was perfect, but unfortunately was not able to find anyone. And VLT, the site execute is just so nice.
Yeah, and this is the carpet bombing that we were talking about before. Excalibur clears out the common positions with the Hunter's Fury, and whatever else is left is cleared out by the flashes that Eccles throws. Yeah, this is the velocity that I was scared of. Godlike have now forced the beast to wake up. Out of his slumber, out of the resting phase, Velocity now want to shut things down. Yes, it would be a nice statement if Godlike was able to win this map, but Velocity really want to maintain their reputation as the big boss. And so far they're doing everything to make sure that Godlike can't progress an inch further. These two weapons will be saved up, but luckily Hika and Astro also have some money in the bank, so Godlike can afford to purchase weapon for another round or two. But if they keep losing these rounds, then Godlike will once again have that economic breakdown. And that breakdown will happen at like the worst moment possible because Velocity would be on their way up.
VLT, they're having some heavy talks going on so far. And they definitely need to. IGL Echo's definitely making some big moves. And that side execute was pretty clean. And that sort of a side execute is definitely going to give VLT another huge burning hope that they can make this entire matchup easy as well. 7 rounds on the board. All the lead that Godlike had is almost being nullified. Only 3 rounds lead. It's not that much. You can definitely not rely on that. 3 players stacking up on the side of A this time from Godlike. Trying to predict what's going to be on their way this time, but every single player from BLT is out of the A main. And Godlike, that's a good push, catching every single player off guard.
Yep, that's exactly what Godlike needed. They needed to play a little more proactively, because if they keep giving Velocity the lay of the land, then Velocity will easily use it to steamroll over Godlike. Man advantage secure, so Godlike can now afford to fall back and play passively. Meanwhile, Velocity Gaming, now they've got the ultimate online, null command available. Do they use it right here though?
Ooh. Look at that jump spot angle that Astro was using. Was able to spot out the players, but Hika unfortunately is being lost out. 0 point was utilized, but eventually the execute's going to be on the plan. VLT, they're quite they just want to go on the A side. It doesn't matter what sort of thick and thorns are going to be in the paths. It's not going to matter. They still just wanted to go on the A side no matter what. Eventually, they're being countered, but still, they're just so adamant.
This is good stuff. At least the hope is alive for now.
30 seconds left.
But hey, it did come awfully close. If it wasn't for Astro picking up the pace, then Velocity could have turned things around. And now Godlike, they're heading towards their first map win. They still have to get over a few hurdles though. Velocity Gaming has plenty of money, even after purchasing everything that they have. Godlike will need to win not just this round, but they will also need to keep most of their weapons alive, because at this point you can't afford to have that breakdown. Deathmaker once again dashing in. He's got Eccles to play alongside him as backup. Meanwhile, another push comes out from the other side. Godlike are trying to take back control of B after losing 3. And so far, they've done a decent job of it. Zay pushes even further. Oh no, that's the spike. Velocity did a great job of moving towards market and almost cleaning out the P side, but now with the spike dropped in no man's land, it's up to Zay to be the bodyguard, and he is absolutely killing it. Godlike on their first ever map point.
Oh, that's so huge from Godlike. 1 more round to go, ladies and gentlemen. And Godlike are proving that the gods can't bleed indeed. And when I'm speaking of God, I'm talking about VLT, because so far of this entire South Asian region, VLT have been the one ruling the charts. But now a timeout from VLT. They really just don't want to give this map up.
Absolutely not, dude. Who would want to? Consider this, the only other time that Velocity have had, I'm sorry, not Velocity, the only other time that Godlike have had a map point was in that multiple overtime game against Militant Esports. That is it. That's the only time that Godlike Esports were ever close to a map point. And now they are not just within touching distance of a map win, it's against Velocity of all teams. I mean, up until now, Godlike had several doubters, several people who were questioning the credibility of this lineup. But with this single map win, regardless of whether Godlike makes it to the next stage of the tournament or not, they will shut up the doubters. They will hush the haters. Imagine losing most of your matches, but then beating the #1 team on Ascent. That is nothing short of a Cinderella story.
And speaking of the Cinderella story, if Godlike they're able to win this entire matchup, then it's just gonna have the cherry on top of the cake. Godlike will be another one of those teams that will be most feared inside the entire competition.
Get out of my way.
But then you just sit down and wonder that God's Reign were able to absolutely dismantle Godlike. What sort of caliber that team has.
You should run.
Godlike on the other hand though, this time quite a huge change in the pace. They're going to rely on that lockdown heavily. Lockdown being invested. Every single player from VLT is going to respect that. And VLT, they start to move in instantly. As Godlike, they fall back from the site. They let the site control be taken away. That's an easy stroll on the side from VLT. They'll get the plant down as well.
Plants down, but these 5v5 retakes are always dicey. Hellfighter he spots out 2 players, so that's some information relayed. The rest of them will be coming in from either market or defensive spawn. But Velocity, they reinforce this area. The backup arrives, and this flash is thrown by Echoes from the top. Astro, on the other hand, goes berserk. Now he's opened up the kill box. The opportunity's back on the table. And they're actually capitalizing on it. No, but Godlike almost let this one slip. Astro not ready to kick the bucket yet. Still clawing, still hoping for a way back inside, but the odds are heavily against him. He doesn't stop. This could be an ace. Probably the most futile ace. Yes, he gets it, but the round still belongs to Velocity.
Oh boy, but these type of aces can really just break down the morals of VLT.
I know, right? And Godlike have pulled
now.
off. Godlike have pulled off 2 of these in the same game. One by Caramel and the other one right now.
It's incredible. I told you, Astro is able to step things up so well. Even Zay could have put up the ace as well. In the previous round, he got a 4K. But still, Godlike, these heroic plays are really just keeping him alive inside the competition. And VLT, they were able to barely squeeze out a round on behalf of that lockdown. The lockdown was the only way they got the plant down as well. But as we all said, if VLT do lose out on this map of Ascent, that will be the first ever map they drop inside VCSA. And it can definitely be a huge statement from Godlike that they are deserving to be here on the stage. Recon dart utilized to find out any sort of information, and now VLT, definitely the fear is going to be there in the hearts. Hika's holding down the angle. And VLT, you can see now they're starting to respect the opponents even more.
Ooh, preemptive Cosmic Divide from Godlike. This is great. They try to buy time along with it. But Velocity double peek Zay. He wouldn't have expected this so early. And instantly, man advantage taken back by Velocity. Godlike have now no choice but to reclaim mid for themselves, hoping to check whether Velocity is still there or not. And Hika's about to step up. He's gonna have so many players coming towards him. And even with the flash, Deathmaker gets the better of him. Astro once again put on a pedestal. He's delivered hundreds of times before, and he has to do it yet again. But this time the maneuverability from Deathmaker is just too good. Rexy chimes in, and Godlike are making this one work. But the moment I say that, Doma, he brings it back from the brink, and it's all down to Rexy. Very little HP left.
7 HP and a dream. But VLT, they shut down the Dream and Rexy too at the same time. And VLT, they keep the lifeline going. They keep the map extending so far. Oh, they just don't want to drop this map no matter what. Because VLT, they themselves know this can be huge on their reputation so far. They've built inside this tournament. They cannot lose against a team that is all the way in the bottom of the overall standing. And if that does happen, we all know the consequences.
Tactical timeout, much needed. They need to secure this map anyhow. Not because it's necessary for them to survive in the tournament, not because it will probably up their hopes of making it to the playoffs, but because it is a statement. Up until now, even in the interviews, the other players, whenever they were asked about Godlike, they didn't have too many great things to say. They were discarded, discredited as a lineup, and now they have a chance to make a statement, to reclaim all their glory, and to reinstate whatever fear they hoped to establish in the first place. Every single person on Godlike stepping up and above. Astro on the verge of getting a 30 bomb. In fact, I think he might have already acquired it. Yes, there you have it. Caramel with an ace, Astro with another one in this map. This is the best performance that Godlike have put up so far, and they're definitely not gonna let Velocity take it away from them. Not like this.
Godlike, they've got a lockdown available, but unfortunately they're on an eco too. But this eco, they've also invested a decent amount of money. They're going with some light armors too, so that means the intentions are quite clear. To make VLT bleed once again. With not the superior weaponry, but whatever they've got available, and that's a disgusting shot from Zay. Oh, good way to open things up. VLT. Oh boy. If the opponent's turned up like this, it's tough to shut them down. It's tough to calm them down. But VLT, they definitely do have a huge mission in front of them. But even Godlike, they need to convert. They need to make something out of nothing.
Unfortunately, Godlike have nothing to work with in this round. Barely any weaponry. The one gun that was present in the hands of Zay has now been repositioned towards the top of defender spawn. Caramel has the lockdown, but he's defending B all alone, and now he can't use anything. Null command, util, smokes, all of them deployed. Caramel trapped in an island. He's got no backup, and Deathmaker will slay him. Kill him in a lonely corner. Hold on, Godlike are actually trying to retake before the spike even gets planted. This is brave, and Deathmaker steps up. Hordes of eco fraggers descending upon him, and he will just shut them all down. Velocity get double digits.
I was so scared when HellFF started to whiff there. Oh boy. I thought that HellFF might just meet his makers right then and there, but in the end he was able to connect that burst, and luckily enough even the opponents weren't able to hit their shots. But still, Deathmaker single-handedly saving the day for his entire team with that 3K. And then VLT just left out to clutch some stuff up, just to sweep some stuff up. But one thing's for sure, the VLT, they themselves are now starting to turn up. Doma with 17, Deathmaker with 15. Every single player, or every single person from VLT is now starting to turn up as well.
Oh. I don't know about turning up, but Eccles is turning on the heat. Look at the fast aggression from mid. Unfortunately, there's no alarm bot or turret or anything placed over here, so it's up to Hika to jump spot and see whether anyone's crossed or not. And even if he does jump spot now, he won't be able to find out too much because Pizza and Market are already acquired. Eccles kills Rexy, and now a little bit of information is available to Godlike, but they don't know where the actual hit is coming because there's presence on tree as well. So now Deathmaker can actually bamboozle them. And he does! Hika downed! He's gonna finish him off so that the null command stops ticking, and Hellfighter executes Caramel. He thought he had an advantage. He thought he will be able to get the jump, but it's all going down the drain.
Still, though, it's a 2-on-4 scenario. Eccles is the only man who's been shut down so far. Huge advantage in the hands of VLT. But still, they're taking quite a slow approach, respecting their opponents, and finally now the door's going to be broken down, which was holding them back to take the site control. And they stroll on the site, a casual walk in the site. HellFF might just be the man who gets caught off guard, but he does not overextend for the control of AMA, and instead just falls back on the site, plays for the post plant. VLT, now they're starting to respect the demons in the front.
And the fact that Hellfighter placed that smoke towards B main kind of tells you that Velocity are aware about where Zay is. All they need to do is find out where Astro will be. In fact, they don't want to find out at all. Velocity take no chances. They're just playing from the back of sight. They know that this man advantage can help them secure the win, regardless of how much firepower Godlike has. Zay keeps the hope alive only for a second, and Velocity finally plunge them into the darkness. Is this gonna be another eco from Godlike? Do they have enough money?
I highly doubt they're gonna. And even if they do try to force it. Oh, they did. Yeah, luckily enough, they did. Oh boy.
Just about. I mean, they have to sacrifice a little bit of utility. Caramel can't afford to purchase an alarm bot this time, and most of them are only on light shields. In fact, Astro has like just 1 star in the bag, so there's really not too much util available on Godlike. With very limited resources and limited shields, they have to stop Velocity right here and now. They can't afford to let this go into overtime.
They really can, and that's why they're really just taking the heat against them. trades did happen back and forth, but there are a lot of utilities being thrown even from the side of VLT. Hunter's Fury utilized to find some tags and maybe some kills as well on the site. And Astro is going to be the last man, the last hope alive for them. Beautiful fragment being utilized. Astro being taken down, only 20 HP behind the gen. And he's fighting for his life.
Wait,
Rex
why?
is going to try to push up a even I'm questioning that. A highly questionable move coming out from Rexy. But still, there are two players up and alive from Godlike. Rexy just really overextending his own limits to try to get those kills in the hands.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lockdown in place. They would have fallen back anyway. Caramel now in a position to intercept them. Please don't go for the double peek. There's 3 players waiting. Are you serious? Caramel still gets that frag. I'm astounded by all this. And now he's delaying them with the nano swarms too. There's only 30 seconds, so if Caramel can delay them just long enough, he might not allow Velocity to plant. And now he's repositioned. He threw that nano swarm from market, which leads Velocity to believe he's present over there, but he's actually towards defender spawn now. And there's no smoke to block him off. Hellfighter's run out of stars. At least Velocity can cross back into the B side, and now the plant can't be denied. So Velocity actually have the advantage going into this one. This might just go into overtime. Godlike had worked so hard to acquire the advantage, but it might just slip from their hands, but not while Astro's still alive. He has a statement to make, and he will not stop until Velocity are buried. And the flag of Godlike flying high above. Trades from Caramel going left and right. He's got the HP advantage. Hellfighter back in the site. Down to a 1v1. Caramel drops into the site, and we are going into overtime. Velocity maintain their ground. They're not gonna drop a map, not against Godlike. And this is absolutely heartbreaking, dude. Velocity, they almost lost this map, man. That too against Godlike. And for every single Godlike fan, this was supposed to be their redemption. This was supposed to be them making a statement about how, despite all the games they've lost, they can still win. And that too against the strongest team in the tournament so far. But now in overtime, things are up in the air again. Oh my lord. What an emotional roller coaster, especially for everybody on Godlike. This would have been their first ever map win in the VCSA. And up until now, their performances had been dismal, but through some miraculous factor of luck and some amazing channeling of their energies ahead, with Astro's heroic performances and everybody else supporting him, Godlike had 3 map points. The score was 9-12. And that's when Velocity break their economy, force Godlike on an eco once, bring it to double digits, and they win the next 2 rounds back to back to back.
Finally, scoreline being tied up. And now we're going to move on towards the entire overtime over here. Definitely things are looking quite interesting, ladies and gentlemen. And oh boy, the previous round was definitely quite thrilling. But this overtime's going to be even more. VLT, they're really just getting a run for their money. We were talking about a competitive series, and Godlike, they just never lack in giving those. Even the previous time, if you remember, we saw a huge overtime from the side of Godlike. And once again, Godlike take us to OT. They're just making these matchups so interesting and entertaining.
This time, Godlike taking every step with caution. Drone to clear out tree. It just about spots out Eccles. But look at Caramel. He's not joining his team. He's still holding towards mid, hoping to sell the fake. Eccles playing on the edge of the smoke, and this time it betrays him. But Excali's got the op this time instead of Deathmaker. This isn't something that you would usually expect, but with Excali present over here, things can be very awkward. Tree control lost, but at the same time that Godlike are trying to capture Heaven, the Spike is trying to move its way inside from the door. In fact, you can see that Rex is trying to knock on that door. He's trying to play around with the switch, but both the Velocity players are stuck inside Hell, and it's difficult to lure them outside. And the moment they try to pry on these doors, Velocity will dig them a shallow grave, man. They don't have time to dig 6 feet. And Astro left in the clutch once again. He's delivered before, but this time the odds are stacked against him.
Too many players to counter in front of him, and Astro falls down once again. Oh boy, VLT. They're trying their best. They really are. Godlike, as always, is there with a huge reply in front of them. But eventually, at least they get the first round of this OT in the hand. And now the pressure is going to be back on Godlike. If they really just want to extend this series to the third map, they will need to win. They will need to win this round and take us to another OT. Because Godlike, they know for their opponents, it's the match point.
Yeah. Velocity have map point. It's match point, actually, not just map point. And Caramel wants to make this work, but there's so much utility. He's tagged, he's flashed, he's in the smoke, and now he's buried, dead. Grexy also blinded. Zay keeping himself alive, but because he's tagged by the recon, his smokes actually become his death instead of being his saving grace.
Spike planted.
Incredible stuff. Spike being planted too. And now it's a 2-on-4 scenario. Eccles knows where one player's available. And it's in the name of Astro too. So far, Astro is the man who's been winning most of his duels too. So you cannot just go and challenge a duel against Astro like that. And Godlike, it seems like slowly and steadily they're starting to mop up the floor too. And now it's a 1-on-2 scenario. Excali all by himself in the boathouse. And he finds a nice headshot. A crispy, clean lock on Excali. But now Excali against Astro. The recon dart goes off as well. And Astro is just looking to claim the round. But VLT, they put the final nail in the coffin and claim the last round in their hands. Oh. VLT, they barely do not drop any map. This could have been a loss for them. But they drag it back in the last moment in the OT.
Man, oh man, I don't think I've seen an emotional roller coaster as enthralling as this one. The opposition from Velocity, it is too much to deal with. Their precision, it's unbelievable. This match has to be a sensation. Godlike could feel their temptation of the win, but they were denied. They overcame their weaknesses, but then they succumbed to the one weakness that they still have, and that is their nerves. They come into play, and Velocity just standing tall above all the noise, above the clutter. They cut through it all, and they remain undefeated in VCSA. An unlikely contender challenged them today. When people started to think about the matchup between Velocity and Godlike before this match began, they all believed that Godlike did not stand a chance, but by the time Ascent came to an end, they were all believing.
Indeed they were. What a matchup it was. Godlike and VLT, it went so close on the second map where we did not expect that to happen at all. But still, Godlike, they gave VLT a run for their money. On the other hand, VLT, they knew it's the fight for the pride. They cannot drop a single map over here inside VCSA, and they didn't. They dragged it back at the last moment. But again, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to push to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hit for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Making dreams come true and memories happier.
On track, now we on way up. W's as easy as a layup. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 seas. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 seas. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 seas. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long.